Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as they break with facts and clarity? Our news are reported as it is.
In Africa, and all those who masterminded the way it happened will have to pay a price.
Enjoy Western programs, projecting culture and tradition to the world. Brought to you as the break and recapped every hour for your update.
Western Spring Television, ours it is.
It's the midweek edition of Morning Spring right here from Western Spring Television, and I would like to say thank you always for being here with us at Western Spring Television, the station that says it as it is. Welcome on board, and if you are joining us for the very first time, we're super excited to know that you're there. The midweek edition, today the 23rd day in the month of August. The month is fast spent, but we just give God all the glory for the gift of life and good health. Hope you had a nightful rest, and it's about that time for us to do the needful. Serve you everything that has to do within the society, both locally and internationally. And we promise you it's going to be super exciting. TUNDE IDOWU is my name at Irresistible TD on X. Finally, we will be calling it, we'll be saying X now. Yeah. But then XYZ. I remember last night while I was talking to my younger boy, and I said, give me my phone, I want to check something on X. XYZ? No. Yeah. Welcome on board. FEMI, good morning, good to see you.
All right. Yeah,
good morning. I know, work had taken a toll on you. Good to see you.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. This is Morning Spring. Western Spring Television. Good to be back here. As you have said, good health,
it matters a lot.
Gift of life is a privilege.
Yeah.
Thank God for that. Here on the program and at the station, we say it as it is.
Absolutely.
Definitely, looking at the critical part of our society, issues of public importance.
Yeah.
That's what we discuss here. We'll start with the papers, and then at the other side of it, we get talking. And today we are going to be looking at a very critical sector of any human endeavor. Talking about this nation, talking about this state, information, knowledge, empowerment, all encapsulated in what is termed education is very important. Someone said a nation can be greater than its level of education, be it formal or informal. In this particular case, from the fulcrum of our conversation for today, and speaking about the nation as well, so many things has happened. Definitely, the new ministers possibly are now finding their feet, trying to settle.
Fully back.
Many of them have granted their first press interview. Chief among it, that kind of interviews is definitely the one made by the FCT minister.
Sorry.
Always combative. Here's some wicked. Yeah. Everybody who has their house, who has their thing on the green, green
grass,
green area,
green area
is coming down. And if you know, then one we just want to ask, the functions of the minister of the FCT, is he just pulling down and pulling down and pulling down? Is that the basic function
I'm not sure
of what you do? Because yes, we knew what happened during the Nasir El-Rufai era. He had so many issues with different persons, pull down hotels, some religious buildings, place. Definitely. But then when you're coming here, your press interview is kind of aggressive and combative. And you already, you know, so many persons already say, Mr. Wike, this is Abuja. This is Nigeria.
Yeah,
this is not Rivers, where you had everybody on your palms, you know. Yeah, many other ministers have granted interviews, spoken. Mr. Adelabu has spoken, Dele Alake has spoken, and then we wish them all the best, just like TUNDE we say. But then we expect you to do the needful,
hit the ground running,
especially in talks, in action,
absolutely,
as well, because the state in which our economy and our nation is right now, we can't afford any lost time. Every time, every minute, every second counts.
Yeah.
So the ones in the newly created blue economy, that's from our state governor, yes. You know, yes, all those novel ministry. You work with your people. So many people will say the work of a minister is to show direction, is to show the path to follow. There are professionals in every ministry.
Absolutely.
They must work. They must give a value for the money, because many believe, you know, the way they say in the Yoruba parlance is Ishoba. You don't have to really sweat. But I believe a time must come, and the time has come for us to change that notion.
And that time has come for us to tell you that very shortly we'll kick off things this morning, taking the headlines from the dailies before we go to our conversation proper. Once again, we'd like to thank you all for being there with us day in, day out. Let's take a short break. When we return, we'll tell you what's happening.
Before the short break, I almost forgot.
All right.
FEMI
And obviously you can view us on all our social media handles and follow us as well on Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is definitely functioning, and you can subscribe to it as well. We would love to hear from you as well. Let's take a short break right now. When we return, we'll hit you up with the stories making the rounds from the daily. Stay with us. Good morning.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered, because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be showing on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Badamasi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's independence. He was a key founder of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, a political party that held lofty the torch of liberty for the two West African countries. He carved a niche for himself as a wordsmith and a creative speaker, The nickname Kwenkelemens was a natively corrupted version of peculiar mess, his bombastic English language style often used to score proceedings at the parliament. The author of Africa in Ebullition, a handbook of freedom for Nigerian nationalists, was Nigeria's Federal Minister of Natural Resources and Social Services between 1955 and 1956. He died in an auto crash on the 25th March 1958 at the age of 42. Western Spring Television identifies Adegoke Adelabu as a watershed character in history. Ahmadu Bello, a Prince Royal, was born 6th of December 1910 at Raba Village, Sokoto, northwestern Nigeria. His father was a district head and heir apparent to the Sultanate throne from the house of Usmanu Danfodio, a religious and social reformer who brought the Habib dynasty under the Fulani Caliphate in the beginning of the 19th century. Ahmadu Bello raised the bar of political consciousness in participation when, in 1944, he engineered the establishment of the Northern People's Congress (NPC) as the first political party in northern Nigeria and the rallying point for politicians in the region before independence. History will not forget Ahmadu Bello for his charisma and political sagacity, which provided easy passage for his kinsmen to assume political and administrative positions in Nigeria's post-independence era. The distinguished elder statesman and Sardauna of Sokoto has his face on his country's 200 naira currency as a mark of honor to one of the architects of Nigeria's independence. Western Spring Television identifies Ahmadu Bello as a watershed character in history.
Here we go. Let's serve you the juicy details making the round from the front pages of the different dailies that we have with us for this morning. It's still Morning Spring. If you're joining us at this moment in time, thank you and good morning to you. Let's kick things off from the pages of the Punch newspaper, and quite a whole lot of stories emanating there. Most especially, there's been this talk of where are the palliatives? Where are the grains? Why are still some state governors keeping this? But first of all, for me personally, individually, I want to give the thumbs up to the governor of Borno State, Professor Zulum. Babagana Zulum. That man is awesome. Thank you. God bless you. And we just hope other state governors will take a cue from that man. He is perfectly doing well. Looking at the state at which Borno is over the years, insurgency, terrorism, insecurity, all of this enmeshed in that state, gradually is fading out. And looking at how he's calling out to his people, making sure they are able to laugh, they are happy, giving them succor, taking care of them.
Tunde, is Babagana Zulum is an example. Of course, he's a man. He has his flaws.
Yes.
He's not 100% with whatever he does. But then you just appreciate the heart at which he serves.
That kind heart.
And this kind of palliatives is something he has been doing years after years.
Even before this period.
Yeah, definitely. Even before the federal government subsidy removal thingy. Yeah. He has just been doing that, and you don't really have to belong to any political party to appreciate that this is governance, this is welfare. Yes. And they are so transparent the way they do theirs. Open. And you rarely hear anybody complain. Yes. When these things are shared, the administrators are doing fantastic jobs. They are shared, they are portioned. You just come, take yours, local government by local government. It trickles down and everybody is happy. Whenever it's over, it's over. Whenever the thing is available, it's available. Exactly. No delay at all. I was watching it far away, Borno State.
Seriously. I was watching it. I actually watched it rather on one of the stations yesterday evening, and I saw the way they were happy. They were carrying bags of rice.
He's even always there with them,
and he was the one distributing it,
helping them, doing his beat. So sometimes it's not about the party; it's about the person.
The person
having a heart to serve, to make sure your people are happy. in a place, in a state like Borno State that is just recovering. Hopefully they are on a recovery journey from what has, bedeviled them in the past 4 years, banditry, insurgency, and then when it's time for palliative of removal of subsidy, you see the man number one at the forefront again. Yes, a couple of states are doing some things, and we have some states that are just silent.
We're still waiting.
On this.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. But the major point is why I personally am hailing the governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, is that he's taking it as at when due. Yeah. He's doing the needful as at when due. We just hope other state governors will do that as a, not hoard these things. Thank you. Let's move on the program this morning. Taking my first set of headlines from the Punch newspaper, and you have that picture and that big headline there. It says, anger as state's warehouse rice delay palliative sharing. Why?
That's the question.
Why? The writer there says Borno distributes rice to 400,000 households. Workers lament hunger, demand relief. Labor insists 5 billion naira not enough. Gombe promises workers 10,000. Anambra 12,000. How much are we getting here in this our dear state? We need to know. The citizens are waiting. So that's you can see the picture there. That's the picture of the man we just spoke about, the governor of Borno State there, and amongst his people distributing grains.
He's always on ground.
Look,
see things and monitor. And the part of it is, when you see a governor on ground, there's no way
you will be excited that yes, you'll be grateful, you'll be happy. That's what we're looking at. Look at them. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. We wish him the very best, and we keep our fingers crossed, because as with us right here on Western Spring Television, we'll say it as it is. Once you do well, believe you me, we'll call it out like this. We'll say that you have done well. So we keep our fingers crossed. Moving further, the bottom strip of the same daily for today. Naira slumps. Manufacturers, raw materials import hit 8 trillion naira. The red strip on the pages of the Punch newspaper says, Associate mourn slain senators' aide, demand killer soldiers arrest. Yes, nobody should be taken for granted, because I remember, if it's vis-a-vis, I remember what happened to Sheon Kuti after he assaulted a police officer. We saw what happened. They dragged him. So now that this has happened vis-a-vis, please let the needful be done, and we'll keep our fingers crossed as well. Ogun doctors plan September 1st strike over unpaid allowance, and that's what keeps me wondering. I wonder a whole lot. Places like the hospital and the personnel working in hospital, security agencies, why would they be owed? Why should they go on strike?
Essential workers. Essential workers.
These are people the common man will run to when we have issues, and they are there. Yeah. But when we now hear they're going on strike because of unpaid allowances, it's unfair. It's unfair. It's not just common to Nigeria alone. It's definitely common virtually around the world. I saw what happened in the UK. It was, and they clamored for an increase in wages, but not unpaid allowances. This shouldn't be. Moving further to the top strip of the same Daily Punch newspaper, going straight to Niger Republic here. AU, that's the African Union, plans fresh sanctions. Abdusalami warns against war. FG states LGs share 966 billion naira July revenue. Okay. And EFCC mom as Diezani faces bribery charge in UK. Is it getting to that young woman? Boy, we wish her all the very best, and I made so many other stories. That will be all from the pages of the Punch newspaper for this morning.
All right, we move to the Tribune. The Tribune newspaper for today, with the bold headline, AU suspends Niger over coup. That's the African Union. Abdusalami says crisis may be resolved through diplomacy. Okay, and people of Niger, northern Nigeria, one and same. Let's avoid civil war. El-Rufai tells ECOWAS. Okay, that's a deep one. You need the detail? Please grab the copy of the Nigerian Tribune for this morning. And stop checking cargoes already cleared by customs. Shippers Council urges police others. You know, we're talking about the ease of doing business, and then many checkpoints, many unnecessary checks being complained, especially by shippers, and they are telling the only authorized body to do the checking is Nigerian Customs, and in as much they've done that, what's the police looking for? What's their job in checking cargoes, except there is a security breach dimension to that? Yoruba group to Kwara governor release Yeye Osun Talolorun orders now. We hope unnecessary, religious situation will not just be breeded, especially with the situation going on in Kwara State about the Sheshe people, traditionalists, and some of them claiming that Kwara State, especially Ilorin, doesn't have a place for traditionalists. By the way, let the people involved do the needful. Nigeria is a secular state.
Everybody's free. There should be that freedom of religion. I decide what religion I want to do.
Freedom of association.
My father can be a Christian. I can decide, look, it's my choice.
Freedom of worship.
Seriously.
It's a shine in our laws.
It's, I don't know.
All right. NIMC-DG sent on terminal leave as Tinubu appoints Koka Odushote to replace him. Okay, we wish Miss Koka all the best. And here at the bottom strip, Diezani in fresh trouble. UK court charges are over £100,000 bribery allegation. Suspected to have been rewarded with furniture, payment of private school fees, gift from top designer shops to appear in court October 2nd. Maybe finally the Zani we have her day in court, or maybe not from the EFCC now, it's from the UK government, because many have been saying she should have been extradited back to Nigeria to answer for all the allegations leveled against her. Many humongous figures being mentioned, but then this is on another level. The thing is, at least in Nigeria, everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty. That is it. But in the UK, she will have her day in court as well. Now, moving on, seek redeployment if you can't deliver. Wike wants FCT directors, talking tough as usual. Yeah. Tinubu to create 10 million jobs through Humanitarian Affairs Ministry. IDOWU, that's better, IDOWU. Many persons will say, please hold on. Get into that ministry first. Don't just talk and talk. We've had so many talks in the past. And then when you guys get there, you get the files, go through the briefings, and then you start recounting on what you have said and say, I didn't know the situation is like this. Many will say, please, yes, we are not holding these things against you, but please hold on. And when you say 10 million jobs, at what time? What are the kind of jobs?
Yeah.
Because when you talk about yes, it's a job, but it's for a particular set of people, and then there is age limit, and then there is timeline, only for a year, only for 2. What kind of jobs are you talking about? We want specifics. I think that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Umahi orders work stoppage on Gadabiu Bridge. Okay, the Minister of Works in action now.
Yeah.
Okay, and just before I leave that better I do, some will say the Humanitarian Ministry created under President Muhammadu Buhari, former President Muhammadu Buhari, was saddled with so many responsibilities: the welfare, taking care of people in distress, the work hand in hand with Neymar. The OES, all these NSIP or something, the social welfare schemes, many of them are still being whole salary. And I'm speaking on authoritative grounds and these are the things that better do must just see to immediately. Many of those guys are not being paid for months. So instead of just saying Tinubu, create this, please get into your ministry, read the files, speak with your workers before you make promises. Okay, at the top streams, FAAC, FAC, federal government, states, local government share 966.11. 110 billion July allocation. Okay, a nomination open for 2023 FEMI IDOWU Leadership Prize. That's it on Nigerian Tribune for today.
And quickly, I'll take my next set of headlines from the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper, obviously the same story, but written differently here. New twist in Niger crisis as Russian mercenaries arrive. To do what? All right, we'll keep our fingers crossed. The writer there says, Wagner Group in Mali with arms, ammunition. Abdul Salami raises dialogue. Hope briefs Tinubu. Okay, Abdul Salami raises dialogue. Hope briefs Tinubu. All right, that's a good one there. Let's just keep our fingers crossed with you. Nobody will not pray for war. We just hope dialogue, just as former head of state Abdul Salami and president had stated that we do not war. Everything should not be about war. Dialogue should come first. Let's see what this looks like. Ministers zoom into action. Yeah. You have Badaru demands action plan to end terrorism. Yeah, I listened to him last night with the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, former Zamfara State Governor, and they are like, "Hey, we must end this." He spoke with members of the Nigerian Army, and yeah, please bring down terrorism to the lowest ebb. Yeah. And also you have Wike to directors, move on if you can't perform. Tunji Ojo there says porous borders, passport scarcity must end. That's a good one. Nigerians will be so excited to seek to get an international passport
of
interior there, and then it takes a long time before you get
and
them.
These very notorious balance of there's no booklet. There's no booklet.
These are things that shouldn't take.
But when you speak with the ranking officers, they will tell you booklet is not an issue. Yeah. So what's the problem here? And the racketeering that goes on, although, I think the commandant in charge of Osun was there at some point, yes. And, she spoke eloquently about the fact that people should learn to do things the right way.
Yeah.
It's because people want everything fast, immediately. That's why those racketeers keep having business.
A field day, yeah.
But then the Minister of Interior will come good, to just make sure this passport things is fixed once and for all. Let people do what they have to do online.
Absolutely.
Get a day for their capturing, and then in a few weeks they get their passport, and everybody will be fine.
That would be awesome, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. Moving on to other stories here. Who is this? The Vice President Kashima, during his tour of exhibition stand at the Brick Street Fair in Johannesburg, South Africa. There, all right. The red strip on the bottom strip of the Nation newspaper. It's September 7th for judgment in Shuaibu Obaseki's case. I thought this had died down. Well then, September 7th is here. BRICS offers, that's $10 billion loans. Wow. Probably, I don't know if FEMI is interested in part of the loan.
You're talking about BRICS. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Okay, yeah. We are not. Okay.
Thank you.
I could not. All right. Above the major plate there, you have the red strip there. President names NIMC boss, and medical consultants serve 21 days strike notice. We read that earlier in the different dailies. Please, these people should not be on strike. They're at the cost of Nigerians. We can't travel abroad for medical attention. So the few hospitals that we have in our dear nation, please let's get the personnel working so that we don't have to lose anybody in any form, please. UK police charge Diezani with bribe taking. Fraud. Wow. The alleged wrongdoings are there. It's mammoth. It's wow. This is Nigeria. This is in UK. You try that. Just like our dear police, some of the good ones are very fantastic. I say it any day, anytime among the Nigerian police, and some of the bad eggs, whereby once you give them something, they just say, or find them on the highways and on the roads, just saying without.
Oga Weekend.
Yeah.
Even the ones that ask you Oga Weekend, you know, definitely you might want to say, okay, fine, okay,
yeah,
encouraging you. But the ones that just pull you over
and start
asking funny questions, and when all is said and done, and then you still want to say, so how far? No, there is no how far on this matter. You have asked what you are supposed to ask, even things that you are not supposed to ask.
Oh my goodness.
But then, just like you have said, we have very fantastic, professional policemen who are doing the job. You know, just speaking about the Ezani now, I remember the prosecution process and jurisprudence in Nigeria. Definitely on paper is one thing, but in reality can be another thing compared to what happens in the US or in the UK. And I'll give you an example. Now, the Ezani is being alleged. Most likely, these guys over there will have finished their investigation
before coming out.
Before they come out. Look. So the moment they come out, they're taking you to court. The evidences are there.
Honestly,
you have your day in court. My lords over there will do the needful. Now here, you are first alleged, then you are arrested. Then the prosecutors, either the police, the FCC, will go to court and ask for days to allow them carry out investigation. The first 14 days, another 14 days, just to keep you there, and they say they are working. Why can't you just relax, do the needful, don't get anybody, you know, to be suspicious of what you are going after. And I remember some cases have happened with the FBI as well. With some guys here have been, you know, they have been extradited to the US. Yes. There was an Victor's Obi guy. That's the Hush Puppy guy. They wait. If it will take them months or years,
yes,
they are there.
They take their time.
Going through the nitty-gritty, they won't even raise any eyebrow.
Exactly.
The moment they come for you, all the documents are there.
Evidences
and they are
there.
Going to court. But here, you arrest somebody. Side. Sometimes you show them to the media, put their faces on camera, and then you say you are still under investigation. I will never understand why we do that.
I don't, seriously. It's cause for concern. We just hope. Looking at all the allegations alleged.
The moment those guys come out publicly, your case is done.
Look, even the former U.S. president, tomorrow the man will be in court. The man has even said he's going to come in by himself and all the needful will be done. Yeah. Look at the allegations.
Donald James for that matter.
Oh, goodness me.
You have done the wrong thing. By the time the prosecutors, they are already doing their work, finding, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and by the time they come out to say, oh God, we are coming for you. The stuff out there. Honestly. All you have to do is get your lawyers and then begin to defend yourself.
And if you're lucky that you're not found guilty,
you will really thank your stars.
But then on the other hand, wow, it's vis-a-vis. We just hope with this new administration, this new sets of Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, and the entire team, we just hope the judiciary can be turned around for better. We don't have to keep hearing these media trials. Do the needful first.
That's key.
Honestly, do the needful first. Let's see that Nigeria is blessed. We've got talent up in here. So, but when it's the other way around, it's always a shame.
That media trial thing, I think it's really doing us terrible, more harm, terrible things. Because why rush to the media? Why come out public? Just make allegations and allegations, and that's why some persons, especially legal analysts, will say, you know, that's why some of these big cases are being lost, because you just come and say we have found out that something is happening, then Oga go to court, and then you say please give her 14 days.
Why? Why haven't
After
you done
14
the
days,
needful?
you are still coming to ask for another 14 days, especially the DSS and EFCC on these matters.
We'll keep our fingers. We'll say it as it is up in here. Quickly, because of the want of time, on the top strip of the Nation newspaper, government to curb rising inflation with cut in money supply. And you have the rider there says federal government states cancels share 966.1 billion as July allocation. And stock exchange joins bid to boost forex availability. Please do the needful. APC declares Aregbe Shola's group caucus as contraption. Contraption. Wow. All right, that'll be all quickly from the pages of the Nation newspaper.
All right, just to check the front page of the Daily Trust for this morning, boldly written there. Tinubu's 48 ministers to gulp 8.6 billion naira in 4 years, with riders more to be spent on Esther coats, others earnings to shoot after Fax's wages review, and with another rider, it's wasteful. Implement unassigned report. Now that report is just there, gathering dust. A National Assembly should trim cabinet to 20. Okay, and breakdown of earnings by ministers in the next 4 years. The chart is there. 7.8 million naira salary of each minister per annum. 31 million naira allowances of each minister per annum, and it's there. You just grab a copy of Daily Trust and then you can have a field day. Now at the bottom strip, insecurity. The Defense Minister demands timeline from service chiefs. I think that's good. Yeah. Because these things have to be measured between this time and this time. This is what you want to achieve. Yeah. What do you need? Let's give it to you and give us result. If you are not giving us result within this time, then you might have to leave. And I think that's a good way to check it. You can't frustrate me, Umai tells civil servant. Okay. British police to arraign Diezani October 2nd over bribery. And father kills son, burns corpse over cassava in Akwa Ibom. That's bizarre. That's bizarre. And at the top strip, AU suspends Niger as ECOWAS delegation assures of diplomacy. Okay. And UK reduces tariff on 3,000 Nigerian products. Okay, and finally, pilot of crashed NAF jet buried in Zaria. We commiserate with the family of those involved, especially this person, the pilot, and the entire Nigeria Air Force family as well. We hope we won't get to see any of these. This person has paid the supreme price, and then we commiserate with the family. May God give you, the family, when I mean you now, the Nigerian Air Force, the family of the pilot and everybody involved, the fortitude to bear these irreparable loss. Yeah. That's it on Daily Trust for this morning.
At this point in time, let's get set as our guests are ready to really tell us what it looks like right here in Osun State. Education is a major sector in any economy, and once education fails, hey, there's quite a whole lot that fails alongside that nation. And here in Osun State, there is an ongoing education summit as put together by the governor of Osun State, His Excellency Governor Ademola Adeleke, to look and to cushion out the best from this lot in different schools in Osun State. The summit kicked off yesterday. The flag off was yesterday. It continues today. Then let's get to know what are the things put together for this summit. Will we just have one of the summits and then after the couple of days, everybody kicks it under the keeper? We'd like to get to know what this summit will to bring forth for education in Osun State. Stay with us. It's still Morning Spring right here from Western Spring Television. We'll be back after this break.
These iconic African presents the narrative of a man destined to exert an imperishable global influence in Western education. His was a story of a freeborn, captured and sold into slavery. He was born in Osun, a native Yoruba village near Iseyin in Okeogun axis of southwest Nigeria. Samuel Ajayi Crowther was the foundation student of Fora Bay College, Sierra Leone, the foremost university where the pioneer set of native Africans were educated. Samuel Ajayi Crowther's greatest contribution to humanity was his translation of the Holy Bible into the Yoruba language. The man who authored the Yoruba dictionary was also credited with the translation of English classic hymns into Yoruba and the Ekwere languages. Samuel Ajayi Crowther's private residence in Badagry, incidentally the first story building in Nigeria, is an archival museum dedicated to the memory of Africa's first bishop. Western Spring Television identifies Samuel Ajayi Crowther as a watershed character in history. The 1914 Amalgamation Treaty is synonymous to the birth of Nigeria. Frederick Lugard, a British Army captain and an outlaw who struck gold in Africa, became the instrument used by destiny to make it happen. The amalgamation of Nigeria was designed for economic reasons by the colonial administration to offset Northern Protectorate budget deficit by Southern Protectorate surplus returns. The amalgamation had ab initio created imbalance in the economic political structure of Nigeria and was responsible for the persistent hiccups and the efforts to forge a united country till today. Nigeria's amalgamation was labeled as the mistake of 1914 by native northern conservatives who neither wanted it nor contributed anything significant to its sustenance. Western Spring Television identifies with Amalgamation Treaty of 1914 as a watershed event in history. Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1905, Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in the multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. First television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever expounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sport news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language.
Yes, you're welcome back. It's still Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. And now talking about a very important sector of a nation, of any nation, the education. The importance of education, either the informal or the formal sector, can never be overemphasized, and that is why the Osun State government, under the leadership of Governor Ademola Adeleke at this time, is organizing, the Education Summit. At this time, many persons will say this is not the first time that has happened. And so where has that led us? But then all those concerns will be addressed in due course. But then the Education Summit has started yesterday. And you need to see what the first day looked like. And very shortly now, you get to hear and see for yourself how that has panned out so far. So if our producers can just come up with this, let's have it.
According to recent records, Osun State is rated poorly in Public Examination Performance Index, with the state among the last 3 in the nation. It is in a bid to ensure that this disheartening trend is immediately reversed and to revamp education in the state that the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke gave approval to the State Ministry of Education to host the Osun Education Summit 2023. While declaring the Education Summit open today at the Osun State University, Osogbo campus, Governor Adeleke, who was represented by his deputy, Prince Kola Adewusi, said his administration is determined to improve the Public Examination Performance Index of the state. He noted that the education sector in the state should make youths self-employed, problem solvers, and critical thinkers.
Comprising renowned academics, technocrats in the education field, administrators of repute, as well as seasoned and experienced teachers were assigned to bring into reality the theme of the summit, getting it right and revamping the education sector in Osun State. I am of the opinion that we shall get it right because it is our common resolve to do so. Our administration has identified education as the common heritage that good governance could bestow on its teeming citizenry. We know and acknowledge the desperate yearnings of an average Yoruba parent to ensure that his or her child is reasonably educated for gainful engagement in all spheres of life.
The governor also assured that the recommendations of the summit will be thoroughly implemented.
Having put brains together over months, working on papers, they are starting another one now, bringing people together, deliberating on how to move forward in the education sector in Osun State. And after all those exercises, you have the file of the report under the table. It is not encouraging, and it will be so disappointing. I want to assure this gathering on behalf of the government of Osun State that this time around, it is not going to be so. Mark it, it is not going to be an exercise in futility.
Earlier in his address, the Commissioner for Education, Dipo Eluwole, urged participants and panelists to provide their honest advice on how to improve education in Osun State.
The Minister of Education is confident of robust contribution of good people of this state. Already, over 250 proposals were received. Not less than 2,000 people responded to the questionnaires sent out by the Summit Planning Committee in the last 2 months. I therefore call on distinguished personalities, scholars, and great professionals that will preside on Summit section on each of the 3 days.
On his part, Chairman of the Summit Committee, Professor Oyesoji Aremu, said the rot in Osun education is huge and multidimensional. He stated that the Education Summit will address all issues towards revamping the sector.
Your Excellency, permit me to give a brief explanation on West Africa Examination Council batch charts from the year 2018 to 2022. In the 5 years review, the best showing of Osun State was in 2018, where it was placed 7th position nationally. In 2019, we are placed 27th position. In 2020, we are placed 14th position. In 2021, we are placed 34th position. And in 2022, we are placed 36th position. We are yet to know what out of 2023 will be.
Chairman of the occasion, the Orogun of Okela, Oba Didokun Abolarin, sought collaboration between the people and government to ensure the future of the state's children is positive.
We have brilliant children, we have brilliant people in Osun State. But I'm sure the commitment is not just there. And that is why I had to beg profusely our people. Let us be committed. Retirees, let us be committed. Forget about whether we are paid or we are not remunerated. We are saying that what exactly do we want our future to look like?
Following the opening ceremony, the summit continued with panel sessions where stakeholders will chart a path forward for the education sector of the state. The Osun Education Summit, which will run from today till Thursday, 24th August 2023, hopes to change the situation of education in Osun State. Citizens will hope that the recommendations are effectively implemented. Olalekan Akindoju, Western Spring Television News.
And there you have it, what has happened yesterday at the opening day. And in the House this morning to take us further, to clear, to explain, to analyze the reason behind the summit, I have here the chairman of the Education Summit Subcommittee on Memoranda and Contacts, Professor Wahidi Yahya. Professor, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
And of course, flanking him on the left is Dr. Emmanuel Olufemi Adeni, a member of the Infrastructure Committee as well. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you here. Now, let's get to work. Education, Osun Education Summit. Some will argue and say, we have been here before. What's new? Why are we having this? In fact, some will say the last education summit, what came out of it contributed to what some has tagged the destruction of education in Osun. So many dysfunctioning, creating models, high schools, so many things. And now, you know, in that piece that we saw, it was learned that the highest Osun has ever got was 7th, only in a year. And in subsequent years, 14, 27, 34, and then 36. And that's very abysmal for a state like Osun. So what will these education summit do differently? How is it different from the past? Let me start from the professor.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Well, this time around, the Osun State government, under the leadership of His Excellency Senator Nuruddin Jackson Adeleke, the executive governor of the state, thought it very right that to put professionals together to discuss the way forward in education. As you have rightly said, the current situation of education is very abysmal in the state. Yes, there have been this kind of an exercise in the past, and we can't say that the summit that have been held in the past didn't work, but only that when you look at it, the last one we had in the state was in the 2012, 2011 or thereabout. That's about 13 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. And when you have such a situation like that, even in academics, when you publish a book and the span for 5, 6, 7 years, it requires for a review.
But did that work?
Well, to some extent.
Okay.
To some extent. At least in the report, yes, we were ranked 7th in the past. Only that it begins to now nosedive up to the current stage. So what we are having here is a review of what actually is, or what we have been having in the past. And we have been carefully gathered together the stakeholders to discuss the way forward. And that's what played out yesterday. And you are a living witness to that. And the good thing is that the discussions, whatever report that come out from this summit, is going to have a political will to drive it. So that's one of the take-home that we have from the government, and it's encouraging. That at the end of the day, whatever report that come out from this is going to be fully implemented to move the state forward in terms of educational development. So, so far so good. I think the people are very optimistic. If we were there yesterday, everybody was very happy that the summit now come at the right time, and people brought their minds on a lot of issues as we were presenting yesterday. So hopefully we are going to have we are going to get it right. Hopefully this time around, and we give kudos to the government for thinking it is right to have this kind of a thing this time around. So it's a very good thing for us in the States. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Let me start my discussion with Dr. Adeni here. I know Prof had made mention of a bit of the flag off yesterday, kicked off yesterday. The flag actually started yesterday. Describe to us, what was it like? The attendance and the sessions. What was it like before we begin to know what are the plans that will come out from this summit? Describe what the flag of, I know we watched a bit of it, but obviously it wasn't everything we were able to show. But the few other things that you probably would want people to know, so that to let us know that this summit is gathering momentum and there is going to be a revamp in the education sector in Osun State.
Thank you, sir. Yesterday was a fantastic day in terms of everything. The attendance was massive in terms of participants, and not just that, people talked very freely. They expressed their mind, opinions, everything that concerns education in Osun State. And the beauty of it, that yesterday was that nobody was left out. Actually, after formally declaring the summit open, the first session was in Yoruba. And that gave opportunity to not just people that were able to speak in English to participate. And it was revealing. People were able to express whatever they think might have happened and what, in their opinion, should be the way forward. And the other sessions that followed too, after the declaration of the summit open and after the Yoruba session. Well, let me quickly add this. There was a paper presentation by Professor Ajiboye, the Executive Secretary of the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, that talked about what education should really be and the impact of teachers, and the fact that it's not everybody that you see in the class or anywhere that is teaching that is a teacher. That the state government should try as much as possible to ensure that the teachers are registered, because before they are registered, they must sit for exams, and that will determine whether that person really qualifies to be a teacher or not. And there was an admonition that the state government should try to train and retrain the teachers, because if you just put them there and you want them to still be operating on what they have learned and not making reviews, it might not go well for the sessions. And there are talks about discipline in schools, STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. And people were optimistic that all these things will yield positive results. I'm talking about discipline. It's disheartening to hear that even in Osun State, the students, probably pupils, they have gotten themselves into dirty things, like going to gangs and courts, and to the extent that even teachers have been threatened in the schools. And you see, when you are threatened, how are you going to work effectively? You can't give your best because you want to protect yourself, security, self-defense first. So that all these things, they are issues that we must address in the state, that the state government should please do something. And there was this group, Peace Corps. They talked passionately about how effective they were, to the extent that I think they said Governor Onyelola then even encouraged the local governments to be giving them something, because they were able to monitor the schools. And later they said there came up the EduGuard or something like that. And that's along the line, things started, things started changing. They talked about the state boys. I don't know whether they call them state boys, something like that. So you see, everything evolved around the society. Because, and the funny thing, there was also a talk about examination malpractice and some other things, that parents even go to the extent of trying to influence people to assist their wards. And that has made students not to be serious again. And again, they observed a trend that students, when their parents would take them out when they get to SS1, SS2 to go and write their exam somewhere. And so by the time they come back...
Special centers.
Well...
That's what they call it?
Miracle centers.
Okay.
Miracle centers. Okay. That even when they now come back to school, after they have written the exam, they will turn uncontrollable. And that is unusual, revolving around discipline in the school. So yesterday was good. Yesterday was good. People talked freely, and we were able to see that if I'm emphasizing that, if only the government is sincere about that declaration, that whatever comes out of this, we will implement. But if they are to start implementation, there are no teachers in Osun State. When I talk of no teachers, in terms of quantity, the number of teachers that in some schools you get there, you see the principal and just 3 teachers, one just the principal and 2 teachers. What are you going to get? You can't get result anyway, because if I'm to teach Yoruba now, you say because it's a language I can also manage English. There can't be success anywhere. There can't be. So these are the things that happen. It was a nice meeting.
All right. Good to know that you've spoken on so many points raised by people, and people are even allowed to speak in their mother tongue, because anybody can contribute to anything, irrespective of the level of education or And now, when you talk about the education ecosystem, the value chain, so many things are involved, so many stakeholders, the knowledge part, the teachers, the discipline that you have just mentioned, the parents themselves, the pupils, the students themselves. Now, the question is the government, and I'll be asking Prof, that is, ready to go all the way that ideas, contributions generated from this summit, are they ready to give it a push? Are they ready to abide? Definitely a paper will be raised and a presentation will be done. Is the Osun State government ready to walk the talk? Because it's not enough to gather persons. It's not enough to gather. The one we've had in the past, just like you have said, maybe had his own impact and his shortcomings. So many erudite persons were there at that time, and it's happening now again. Is the Osun State government ready to go all the way? And let me quickly add, what exactly is the target of this summit? Now, we are talking about a review of the last education summit. What is Osun looking at? What do they want to achieve with this? And is there a timeline that will be developed to achieve this? The KPIs, as far as this Osun Education Summit is concerned, Prof.
Thank you very much again. The first leg of your question. Let me say, I want to, given the commitment and the statement by the Deputy Governor yesterday, on behalf of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of the state, that's Prince Kola Adewusi. And he has been reiterating this severally at every forum, that the recommendations from this summit is going to be given the required political will. Meaning that whatever that comes out of this summit is going to be fully implemented. In fact, yes, in terms of the timeline, they want to ensure that even whatever the reports that come out from the summit is going to be implemented starting from the next resumption of students.
September.
This September.
Okay.
That's the spirit, and how to believe that it is doable. Well, the performances of students, or generally educational performance of in schools, there are 5 basic pillars that needed to be evaluated. And if these 5 basic pillars are working fine, definitely the system will go the way it is designed. 1, the student themselves, or the pupils, are they ready? the readiness of the student to learn is key to the success of educational performance. The family, the parent. You can, from yesterday, yes, it was revealing that if a parent colluded in this examination malpractices. So if the value system at the level of the parent, of the level of the family is deteriorating, then there will be a problem. So if the parent is ready, or the parents are ready to work with the student is ready, then the school. When the school system also is okay, the teachers are ready to deliver, their level of commitment is boosted, and they are ready to give in the best into the system, then the government, then the society, where we thrive. So all these components have to work together to that to give the result, the expected result as expected. The aspect of the government is very important. Yes, there are issues that have been discovered in terms of no teachers in the schools, lack of infrastructures, lack of science laboratories, no libraries. All these issues have been identified as some of the basic issues that we have that landed us where we are, as it were. But again, the government cannot do it alone. I used to say this. That's when the parents and other stakeholders comes in. The parents should be ready. The era of don't pay anything in the school is over.
Really?
Yeah, it's over. Because if you, as a parent, you have your children in the schools and you felt government should do everything for you, it can't work. There's no free lunch everywhere.
Even in the primary section?
Even in the primary, there should be some level of commitment from the parent. Okay? Because if you just leave everything to this government to do, then there will be problems. There will be problems. If, for example, if the entire allocation of the government is spent or is allocated for education alone, it can't even solve the current problems. So therefore, it is important that the parents are encouraged to know that it is their duty, at least, to collaborate with the government to make sure that what is needed from their own hand, their own commitment to their own children, they should do. It is important.
Sorry, Prof, if I may quickly quote it now. Education from the primary to the secondary, is it not supposed to be free? Is it not possible?
Well, it is possible.
Is it not part of the promises of the state government?
Sorry. We are getting it wrong.
Okay, how? How so?
We are getting it wrong. As we speak now.
Yes.
What it takes government, what it takes individual, what it takes to train a child in a primary school and to secondary school, if you not leave that one alone to the government, given the number of children or number of students we have in the state, it's going to be very difficult for the government to handle.
How?
It's going to be very difficult for the government to handle. So that is why no matter how little it is, as a parent, you should be ready to contribute some things.
Even at the primary or secondary level?
Yes.
We are not talking about tertiary.
Sorry. If we leave everything to the government, because if you look at what is happening at the level of the private schools now, okay, though some of our people that have our children in private schools, we know how much we spend, okay, but if the tiny fraction of this is spent to assist the government at training our children in the primary and secondary school, definitely there will be a difference. They are going to make a difference. A remarkable one indeed. So therefore, it is important that the parents live to our expectations. Yesterday, the PTA, the representative of the Parent Teacher Association was there at the summit. And this message, they understand. That not only the government, even the parent too needed to, in a way, come up with what it can do to assist in the training of their wards at the primary, even at the secondary school. So this, we can't leave everything to the government. That's the message.
You know, not really leaving everything to the government, but if I get you right now, you are saying categorically that free education in primary and in secondary school, as it is now in Osun State, is not possible. Is that what you're saying?
It's possible. Okay. But when I'm talking about the possibility, it doesn't mean that everything has to be left to the government.
But when something is free, it's free.
What do you think?
Doctor, you want to say?
Even in a free day, there's no free lunch.
Okay, Dr. Dini, you want to add something to that?
Say something.
Yes.
Well, you see, there is this misconception, I would say, about this thing free, that thing free. Free in terms of what? We need to look at it that way. Free in terms of what? You see, those days, even now, let me make a reference to one of the sayings of our elders. You see,
I want to translate that for our non-Yoruba speakers.
Oh God! Yeah. That is, if you do not have your investment in a thing, your interest in it might not be too much, because your commitment will not be. You have nothing to lose anyway, because you have not invested anything in it. You see, our parents...
Is that the case in this context?
Somehow. Let me explain myself, please.
All right, go ahead. Because
parents want the government to supply the books.
Okay.
Exercise book, government. Pencil, government. Everything, government. To the extent that even the communities that used to give to the schools in those days are no longer ready to do that. If the roof of a school is blown up, for instance, they will wait until the government comes in. Whereas when you get to these schools, the children of the community are the ones that are there. Are they not supposed to assist in a way? Our kids are here. We cannot leave them in this situation. Let us do something. It was the practice some years back. At least free education was in vogue when I was in primary school. But my parents were buying books for me. And anytime I get home, though not, they didn't have the Western education kind of education. But because of the fact that they bought my books, they gave me money to feed myself during break time. They said, come, homework either. That is where is the homework given to you. Interesting. Because they have commitments and they want to know what is happening.
Yeah.
But now, they will just say, Malo, just go to the school. And when you just go to the school, it is what you see there that will manage and will begin to complain. Nobody is saying that parents should come and pay teacher salary. No. Nobody is saying come and build the schools. Though in those days, communities build schools. That's why you see so community primary school. So this and this. But if the government is paying the salary, if the government is giving the buildings, if there is anything that is immediate that needs the attention of elderly people, people in the community can come in and assist.
All right.
But that's why I say free in terms of what?
Okay, yeah. If I get you rightly, what you're saying is that term free should, be defined.
It should
what
be.
Exactly
is free.
Is the government paying for?
Yes.
What exactly would the parents be contributing to that? And which is fine, just talking about the community contribution to this. And I make bold to tell you that I know there are some communities or some student associations that are doing fantastically well to their schools. I have a couple, especially where I come from now, LP, fantastically well. When you see the building, in fact, some of them are taking up upon themselves set by set. Set of 73, set of 84, set of 95. Meaning these people too, they are trying their best, but they believe whatever is the responsibility of the government, in as much as their responsibility should be done,
of course,
by them.
Yes, of course.
It is on that note. Let me just let's take it and look at it this way, sir, because I'm actually going to direct both questions to both of you, sir. Do you believe education should be subsidized? Prof, let me start with you.
Yes.
You feel it should be subsidized?
Yes.
Dr. Adeyeye. Beg your pardon, Dr. Adeyeye. Do you think education should be subsidized? looking at the quality of teachers we have in government schools these days, and everybody would want to pay no matter how much, once I know that I'm going to get quality from this set of things I have. Don't you think that's the reason why we have this challenge of people preferring to take their kids to the private schools and spend any amount, and at the expense of government-owned schools? That's why I said, should education be subsidized so that everybody, the son or the daughter of Mama Oniru that sells locust beans, that sells rice at the garages, they will be able to afford going to school?
Yes, we are saying the same thing, just in different ways anyway. What we say, the quantum of investment that goes into education, when I said cannot be left alone to the government to show there. The payment of teacher salaries, for example, the instructional materials, the facilities, the teaching materials, the laboratory equipment, and what have you. Now, the involvement of the parent at these levels is very important, and that's why we said that yes, if for example you have your child in the secondary school,
yes, please,
okay, and you know how much, if you take that child to a private school, you are going to commit. Can't you think, okay, you buy uniform? You can't say government should buy uniform for your child. You feed your child, of course. Now this scheme of home feeding, school feeding, yes. But even at that, okay, you want to make sure that your child could receive the same quality of education that his counterpart is receiving in the private schools. Yeah. Definitely, if the government is paying school fees, is doing and making some further commitment, as a parent, you should think, okay, I should be able to complement this. There's some quantum of my own financial input in a way. So to leave everything to the government is not feasible. That's what we are saying. Yeah. Okay. So therefore, and we are even lucky, like I said by FEMI, the involvement of the other stakeholders, like the old students, like in my school, we have some level of intervention that where we assisted the school in a way. So therefore, all these things we work together to give quality of education that is needed. If everything is left to the government, I want to believe that, and that's why we are where we are. Because people believe that government should do everything, and then if you do that, and there's no this political will, because over the years we have been seeing a lot of neglect in our secondary schools. If you at the summit yesterday, there was this video clips of what the situation of the schools were across the states. You will be amazed about the level of rots. Okay, but even at that, as stakeholders, because you see yourself as a stakeholder, as a parent, as a whole student, as a PTA, as a what have you, then all this effort put together will land us where we are expected to land. So that is why I say that it is not just government effort alone that will take us there. Everybody have to key into it and get us. All right.
Still speaking about either education should be subsidized or it should be free. I remember in my own, when I was younger, primary secondary school, I used the OYSG table and desk. Called the Bonagate table. So the iron table and the metal. These are what people say. Well, it keep classrooms. Definitely the buildings good. The teachers then. I remember, if this might sound funny, we call them mommy and baba because they are mature. They take care of you like their own. But you can't say the same thing now for what is happening around this time. So many will say, let the government provide the buildings, keep the classrooms, if possible, provide the books, because we used OYSG books as well, not to be sold, really. So we now have that happening. But let me ask, Doctor, the tertiary institutions Are they part of this conversation in Osun State?
Yeah.
And the private sector as well. Are they part of this? Are they factored in?
As participants?
Yes, as part of discussion.
Yes, they were invited. They are invited.
Okay, because many will say, many of those places that are called private international schools, when you look at them, you know that, okay, the Holy Book says don't despise the days of little beginning, but when you look at it, some of those buildings are dilapidated. And you just wonder who takes his or her child
to that place.
To this kind of schools. So this conversation must happen.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised?
Well,
I don't think you should be surprised. Why am I saying this?
Yes.
You see, we have changed our thinking to a very wrong direction.
How so?
Yeah. Professor Yaya's child is in a private school. Therefore, my own should be in a private school. I do not want to know the standard of that private school, just the name private. That's why some parents will not mind, they take their kids there. And you see, one funny thing is that it might not necessarily be that the teachers in some of the private schools are more qualified than those in the public schools.
Yeah.
Some of them may have people with West African school certificates alone teaching in private schools. But what is the difference? Monitoring. They monitor them because some of them see it as an investment. You cannot come here and destroy my business.
Yeah.
So you must work. But the buildings are dilapidated. I would say the government has a fault in that. And I will tell you why.
Because some of them are certified before they start. Approval.
Such schools. Were there no inspectors that visited the site? Like, let me give you an example. In some other places, people from the Ministry of Physical Planning, Works, and
Urban Regional,
they come to the site to see your site that you want to have a school. Okay, let us see your proposal, the kind of school you want to have. Your building, they will come and inspect it. Is it good to be described as a public building? Do you have the teachers? Do you have what exactly do you have that will make you to run a school? So if the government is not doing that, then it is very bad.
So you're saying the government is culpable too?
In a way, because government cannot pretend not to see these schools in existence. I mean, these unregistered private schools, dilapidated schools in dilapidated buildings. Probably some of the people are keeping quiet because some of the buildings too in some of the government schools are dilapidated too. So rightly so. They may not have the moral something to not challenge somebody and say, why are you using this kind of building? Like somebody will tell you, how is yours too? And I think there is the need to change that.
All right.
And this summit must address
of course, definitely
these concerns.
Like he said, we went round. I mean the committees, we went to the educational zones to visit schools, the ones that were classified as good, fair, I don't want to say.
And what was your finding, Doctor?
No.
Yeah, because I was just about to ask you about the mega schools built during
the mega schools are underutilized. Not just underutilized. You see, when you do like this, you hear the sound like there is kind of particle board, and some of them have started giving way. You see,
are there plans to refurbish, to renovate all the schools by government?
I think government should not leave those buildings to rot.
To rot away.
No, government must think of what to do with those buildings. Maybe the thinking then was that pupils, students from within the community will be aggregated in a particular place, forgetting distance and the cost of transportation of students from a particular location to the school. Maybe it may have been a good idea because the buildings, when you look at them, they are very beautiful, sincerely very beautiful. But what about the maintenance? What about maximum utilization? but now they are underutilized. So it's like, for now, it's like we are not getting the best out of those schools. But I'm sure even if the government is not thinking of using it for whatever, there could be a better thing they can think of these schools. Okay, if it's going to be school A, school B, because of management, because of supervision, because if the number of students are too many for a principal, it's a problem. And when you don't have people that will really handle them, it's an issue. I think other buildings too, but let me just say the state of infrastructure, no good.
Coupled with the fact that, sorry Femi,
yes.
The last administration of former Governor Adegboyega Itola came up with some of the buildings that he too met and said, hey, these buildings aren't watered. Is it that bad?
The mega structures.
The mega structures. Yeah. Is it that bad? Have you, as your committee, been able to go and have you submitted a report so that government, have you tabled this on the table
structurally
of those who need to know?
Yes, sir. Thank you. You see, normally the committees, the different committees,
yes,
we have reports. Okay. And all these reports will be aggregated and make a part of the final report, together with whatever comes out of this summit. That's what is going to form the bulk of what we are going to sit on to deliberate and come up with the final report for the government. When the final report is to be written, the aspect of infrastructure, not just those mega schools, will not be left out. Definitely, there will be a report on those things, because we even have recorded videos that could be given to government for them to see with the names of the schools there, so that they can see that these people are not just talking.
But what did you find out? You went round.
Yes, we did.
We found out the mega structures, the old structures.
We talked about the mega structures.
Yeah.
You see, the old structures, some of them have their roof blown off totally. And you see a situation, we even got to a school, I will not mention the name of the school, Wills had already occupied the premises and even the buildings, because the roofs are no longer there.
And the school is still running?
Well, they have been forced to move away from the only existing building to another school where the number of pupils in a class is now too large to be managed. Even when the teachers of those schools are brought to this new place to join the ones that are there. Like I said, I don't want to mention the name of the place. You now see that...
was it primary school?
Primary, even secondary.
Okay.
You now see that some other group of people, they have become managers of those schools. I don't know if you will understand what I mean.
No, we don't. How do you mean group of people?
Those who are not teachers, those who are not students, they go there to do whatever they like to do. Some vices.
Extracurricular activity.
Well, no, what do you mean by extracurricular?
That's why I'm asking you.
No.
What are these? Who are these people, and what do they do?
Government needs to know. So probably they are not aware of this.
From reports, that people come there to fund some nefarious activities, and it makes it bad. Even for the community where the schools are located, it makes it bad. They say even during daytime, as soon as they are closing, those ones will come and take over the premises, because they sit on the windows of the dilapidated building.
Yeah. And mess up the whole place. So as it stands now, due to these findings, Doctor and Prof, it shows that structurally, Osun has a long way to go, and so many factors. Well, let me ask, and I'll be asking their Prof days, primary, secondary, tertiary, this cadre of education, which one will you say is the most has the most challenge at the moment in Osun State?
Well, both the primary and the secondary sector has a big challenge. And when we visit this schools, as a parent, you have a very big reservation. And what actually we saw was that most of the schools were not fenced. Most of the schools were not fenced. And when you have just schools that you can enter in from anywhere, you can get out from anywhere, then the miscreants ordinarily will invade the premises. So that's the situation in most of our schools in the state, even within the state capital here in Osogbo. So the moment the school closes by 3 o'clock or 2:30, by 4 o'clock, these individuals, they resume and smoking their hymns, do a lot of other things there. And it's very disturbing because some of this school from 3:30 or 3 o'clock to 4, some do run extra classes.
Yeah.
Okay. And when they are running extra classes, and you still see these migrants looking around, what message are they giving to our students in the schools? So that is why we have a lot of issues, even in terms of the moral.
Sometimes smoking, sometimes drinking.
Of course.
Terrible spirits.
I'm telling you, let me say this to you, that even some of these are our students, our pupils. Do join them. Yeah. We have witnessed that.
They have been influenced.
Yeah, they have been influenced. They have been influenced. Wow. So to curb this, it is important that one, our secondary schools, that are public schools, should be fenced. And the security should be provided. A day guard, possibly a night guard. And because most of the schools too don't have this in operation. So these are the issues. These are some of the issues that have bedeviling the status of education as we speak. So, but if all these things are provided, I want to believe that maybe we start from there and let's see what's going to be the outcome.
All right. Well, because of the want of time at this point, sir, during the summit, technical and vocational education in Osun State is like it's not existent. And about 3 billion naira worth of equipment is lying fallow at the technical school in Osogbo. During this summit, are we going to be discussing anything about this to revamp this education system in Osun State?
We have received a memoranda from the stakeholders on this technical and vocational education in the state too. And you are going to discuss it robustly, and it's going to reflect. It's going to form part of our submission or recommendation to see how we can revamp this aspect. Because in those days, technical education, you as a child, you won't feel inferior to even go to technical education, to technical schools. Okay, after this, whether you want to just to have a skill, carpenter and joinery. Fitter machineries and this and they are very good then. But the situation we have now, like in I don't want to mention that in this state, there are a lot of machinery that have been procured, but not yet put into use. Even if it's installed, they are not even put into use. Then how will the students under training will be trained with this equipment? So these are the issues. These are the issues, and that is where the government has a lot to do at ensuring that they implement whatever policies that is being put forward. If you have equipment to train people and they are not put into use, then whose fault is that?
All right. You know, good to know that vocational and technical education discussion will be had. I remember when I was in secondary school, there was this subject called Introtech, introduction. And when you go to the Introtech lab, they sit there, they sit with it. Okay, I remember we were taught how to do lamp, the local lamp that you could just put a wick and you put kerosene and you do as many as possible. Sometimes you even put it for sale in your local neighborhood out to, some persons who go about with transistor, radio, and then so many things are being done. And in all these developed nations, you want to mention easily, the first one that comes to mind is China. Because you don't get to see maybe their PhD holders, MSc holders doing this. So we are being told that is some of their regular guys who are into technical education, who work with very fantastic software to produce phones, tablets, and all of these things. And I make bold to say again, they are not brilliant than we are. Possibly they just have the environment and infrastructure to just go ahead with what they do. But the support, thank you. At this time, sir, the education we are talking about now, just like I said before you came in, many will say a nation cannot be greater than the level of education. You know, someone even say if you want to destroy a nation, destroy the education, because what we produce is substandard doctors, substandard teachers. So, talking about tutors, teachers, will you say they are motivated in Osun?
Well,
because they're the one who instilled this knowledge.
Yes. Yesterday,
they're a huge factor.
It takes a center stage. During the discussion yesterday, motivation of teachers is very important. Somebody with that is very hungry and can't give the best, can't give up his best when gets to the classroom. So teachers needed to be motivated. That is, there's no shortcut to that. Okay, motivated in terms of salary, in terms of even the environment. Okay, the working environment should be very conducive. I want to say this in addition to that, even the teachers that are in the rural areas, in our rural areas, we have a lot of our schools in the rural areas, they should be motivated. There should be a sort of an incentive, okay, to those that are posted, that are working in the rural areas. So that they won't feel inferior, or they haven't been this mad rush to say, okay, you are posted to rural area, you want to move yourself back to the cities.
Looking for reposting, redeployment.
Because that has been the issue.
That is a factor, because sir, it's, I remember, and these are true life issues and matters. Is you see some of them, okay, because the teacher lives in the town and he or she works in the rural areas, he or she goes on Mondays, go on Wednesdays, and that's all. So these are the issues. Doctor, you want to say something?
Yes. You see, like Prof said, and like you have said, teachers...
And it has been happening.
Teachers need to be motivated, not just monetarily. When you overload teachers, you cannot get the best out of them. So government must sincerely and as a matter of urgency employ teachers.
Employ
teachers,
new
and not just teachers, quality, qualified, who will be trained and retrained.
Yes, because even if we install these facilities, if those that are to manage the facilities are not there, it will just remain just like this studio now. Let nobody be in this place, and all these things are here. They are useless.
Of course.
So take over. Teachers must be motivated, not just monetarily. Do not overload them. And you overload particularly those in the rural areas when there is concentration of teachers in the cities. And you now get to those rural areas, you do not see teachers. You are overloading them. Psychologically, they are disturbed. And when you are disturbed psychologically, even if you can give money, you'll be tired at a point. Have I offended any God?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Emmanuel Olufemi Adeni, a member of the Infrastructure Committee. I'll take that as your parting shot. Prof, in 10 seconds, your parting shot this morning. Can you just do it very quickly?
Well, thank you very much. Once again, I want to thank the state government. Under the leadership of His Excellency Senator Ademola Jackson Adeleke, for thought it right to have this summit this time around. It's very timely. It's very timely, and we have a lot of issues have been unveiled. And when the report comes out, we want to believe that it's going to be beneficial to all the stakeholders if they are implemented.
All right.
Given the commitment of the government, we believe them, and we believe that the recommendations will be implemented.
All right. Thank you. Professor Wahid Yahaya, I want to say thank you. And he's the chairman of the Education Summit Subcommittee on Memoranda and Contact. God bless Osun State. God bless Nigeria. Yeah.
I'd like to thank you, gentlemen, for taking time out, and we wish you the very best during this summit and beyond. Thank you most sincerely, because one thing is, we'll say it as it is. We will come back to know where we are education-wise. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being with you all out there today, and we'd like to say thank you for being a part of our lives. We'll be back again tomorrow on another edition of Morning Spring from Western Spring Television. TUNDE IDOWU is my name, at Irresistible TD on X.
Thank you very much. Femi Ojo is my name as well. Whatever you do today, make sure you do your best as a patriotic Nigerian, and please do well to follow us on all our social media platforms displaying on your screen right now on our YouTube page as well. You can have a recap of this program on our YouTube page at Western Spring Television. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless Nigeria. Bye-bye.
Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1905. Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear